Hi everyone, and welcome to Chemistry for Life Sciences. I'm Sarah Shoemaker, the instructor for the course. So this video is being made to correspond with the syllabus, so it'd be helpful if you pull that up or print it out and follow along there. Also, if you forget anything or miss anything, you can reference the syllabus for the rest of the semester. Okay, so first things first is the textbook. It looks like this. It's called General Organic and Biological Chemistry by Frost and Deal. I have adopted the third edition, even though there's actually 4 editions of the textbook. The third edition is cheaper, so trying to save you guys some money. For more money saving tips on textbook buying, see the email that I sent you all. You will also need access to the online homework platform that we're using called Chem 101. So you can buy the access code to that directly online with a credit card, or you can get it at the bookstore using financial aid, but there is a little upcharge if you buy it at the bookstore. I think it's about $30 if you buy it directly online and about $40 if you buy it at the bookstore. And the directions on how to purchase, access, and register are provided in first week instructions on Blackboard. Finally, some organizational suggestions that I have for you is that I recommend that you get yourself a binder or some folders in order to organize the printed notes for the class. And I also strongly encourage you to use flashcards to help learn the vocabulary for the course. These can be physical index cards, or you can use an app on your phone or your computer. Quizlet is a really popular one. I also will add that it's a good idea to get yourself a calendar to help you stay organized with due dates for all your classes. And again, this can be a physical printed calendar, or you can use an app or just the calendar that comes on your phone. Another thing that's really important, since all the classes are online this semester, is that you have good internet access. So the 2 most important websites for you to bookmark and check daily are going to be Webmail and Blackboard. And both of these can be found at the bottom of the North Country Community College homepage. If you go to nccc.edu, scroll all the way down, and there's a link to Webmail and a link to Blackboard. So you can always access them there, or you can just bookmark them for quicker access on your personal browser. So Webmail is your student email. It's your nccc.edu email address, and that is the official way for the college to communicate with you, including all your instructors. That's where all of our communication will go. So you should check that daily. Blackboard is the platform for all of the online courses. So all of your coursework, assignments, etc. will be there, your grades. And so both of these use the same student login information. So if you don't have that or you have any technical issues logging in, then you should contact the North Country Help Desk, whose email address is listed here. Since so much of our communication will be over email, I do like to discuss good email etiquette. So it's not only polite and professional, but it results in actual better information flow when you have good email etiquette. And I know that I am as guilty as anyone of sending brief one-liner emails like text messaging, but email is a different form of communication, so you can't send emails like you send text messages. It's just not really professional. So I encourage you all to follow these 3 rules. The first is to include a salutation and a closing in your email. So a salutation is like, hello, hi, or dear Professor so-and-so. And a closing would be like, thanks, or best, or warmest regards, whatever. Number 2, make sure that you use proper spelling and grammar. This, when you don't, it just kind of makes you look bad, first of all. But also it's kind of a personal pet peeve of mine to have abbreviations, like text abbreviations, like TIA for thanks in advance, or IDK for I don't know. Those are just not appropriate in the context of an email. Or my biggest pet peeve, using you instead of YOU. So don't use lazy language, I suppose, in emails. Use complete sentences and proper spelling and grammar. Not only is it more professional and polite, it also actually communicates what you're trying to say more clearly. And if you aren't clear in your communication, that can result in a lot of back and forth between the teacher trying to clarify what it is you're trying to ask. So you want to be as clear as possible. And then the third thing is to make sure that your email contains polite language and tone. Try not to email people when you are angry or frustrated. And this is true in the professional world. It's sort of a classic fatal flaw of professionals is emailing in an agitated state and then that angry tone or rude tone coming through in the email. So a tip that I heard once for both talking on the phone and writing emails is smile while you do it, because then your voice will actually sound friendlier. I also support the use of emojis. I think they're a good way to indicate tone in an email. Some people would argue they're not professional, so I guess you kind of have to know your audience there, but I like them. So check out my little example of a good email versus a bad email. All right, one of the most referenced parts of the syllabus is the grade breakdown. I like the pie chart as a handy visual, so I'm going to take a couple of minutes to explain each category and how they will work this semester. The first is attendance and participation. I know we're online, but I still find it really valuable to have a live connection with students so we can get to know each other and I can see what the looks on your face. If you're confused about something, you have an opportunity to ask questions. So we will have weekly live review sessions. I will do my very best to work those around your schedule. So my plan is to poll everyone on what their availability is during the first week of classes and set up 2 times each week for us to meet, and you only have to attend one of those 2 sessions. So just one of them has to work for you. So you have 2 options to choose from, and you can come to both if you want, but you only have to come to one per week. Also, you get 3 free absences over the semester because stuff happens. You get busy, you have work, you have kids, you have illness, all right? And so I'm understanding of that. So if we take a 15 weeks of attendance that you should attend once a week, that's 15 times, but you get 3 free absences, so that basically translates into 12 times over the course of the semester that I'm asking you to log in and participate in a live fashion, which is not too bad. I will grade you out of 12, so if you miss 5 classes, 5 weeks, 3 of those are free, and then those other 2 will be deductions out of 12. So you would have 10 out of 12 as your homework or your attendance participation grade. Sorry for my phone going off, which is still like I can't do that math in my head, 80 or 90%, somewhere in there. All right, next thing on the list is homework. Homework is really important for practicing and reinforcing skills that you're learning through the material, especially with chemistry. It's not so much about memorization as about applying things to problem solve. So practice is really important. Homework will be completed online through an online homework software called Chem 101. There will be about 30 questions per week, per chapter, that you have to do. You have multiple attempts for each problem. So if you get it wrong, you can try again. You get a 5-point deduction for each time you get it wrong, but it's okay to get homework questions wrong, and I kind of hate taking a penalty that way. So what I do to compensate for it is I round your homework grade up. So if you get an 81 on your homework, I'll round that up to the next 10. So I'll round that up to a 90. So anywhere between 80 and 90, I will round up to a 90 because it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to have to try again. That's how you learn. So don't obsess over getting it right the first time. Make a mistake, learn from it, and try again, and that's actually more beneficial for you. If you need help with the homework problems, if you're really struggling, you really don't understand how to do it, then get help. You can ask me, you can ask a classmate, you can get a tutor in the LAC. So the homework also helps you identify whether or not you're actually understanding the material, and lets you know to get help before you get buried in a low grade. I don't give extensions for the homework. They are due when they are due, but I will accept late work just for a penalty. So if it's a day late, for each day that it's late, I take off 10%. And after 5 days, it's just a flat 50%. So if it's 5 days late or 15 days late, either way, you only get half credit for it. So if you are late, the moral is try to be sooner rather than later. And I will drop the lowest homework grade, so you have one sort of homework that you can totally bomb. The next area of the grade breakdown are quizzes. The quizzes will be specifically on vocabulary for the course. With chemistry and science in general, a lot of times what students get hung up on is not the concepts, but all the jargon. And so they may get to a test question and they don't understand what it's asking, so they don't answer it. But then if they had understood what the words in the question meant, they were like, oh, I know that. I know what that's talking about. So you really need to know the vocabulary in order to be able to speak and communicate chemistry and understand it. So there will be weekly vocabulary quizzes. I will give you a vocab list for each chapter. And you will take the quizzes in Blackboard. They will be timed. They will be multiple choice, and they will be randomized, meaning each student will get a different set of questions. So there may be something like 30-ish vocabulary words per chapter, but only like 10 will show up on the quiz, and everyone will get a different 10. Also, previous chapter vocabulary is fair game. So if it's a chapter 5 quiz, you still might have some vocabulary pop up from chapter 1 or 3 or 4. So just know that you need to continue to build your vocabulary. Don't throw away your flashcards from previous chapters. Keep studying them. Again, no extensions on quizzes. They're due when they are due. And I won't accept late quizzes or allow for late quizzes, but I will drop the 2 lowest quiz grades. So if you have a brain fart and you forget once or twice, you won't be penalized. Those will be dropped. But then you want to make sure you're doing really well on all the quizzes that you do take. Unit tests will also be a thing. They will be taken in Blackboard. There will be 4 of them throughout the semester. They cover about 3 chapters each, and they will be multiple choice and short answer questions. They'll be taken in Blackboard. My plan is to have a test day. So there will be one day defined in the calendar where you will take a test, but you can choose what time that day you log in to take the test. Once you start it, you will have a finite time to finish it. So you can decide what time of the day is good for you to take the test, but you need to make sure that you sort of set aside that time of the day. Maybe find a room you can lock yourself in with no distractions and good internet access so that you can take it continuously. Because once you start, if you leave the test, then you've submitted it. You're done. So once you start the test, you have to finish it, and you have to finish it within the time block that's allowed, like 1 or 2 hours, somewhere in there. There are not going to be any grade drops for tests. Like I'm dropping grades in other categories. So all of your tests count. If something truly comes up and you can't take the test on the scheduled test day, you need to communicate that with me, and we can potentially work out an extension if there's extenuating circumstances, because I don't drop any grades in that category. The final exam I'll talk more about later in the semester, but just so you know, it will be comprehensive. It will be taken in Blackboard. It'll be sort of the same style as the tests, in the sense that you'll have a 24-hour period to log in and take it, but once you start it, you have a specific set amount of time to complete it. Alrighty, some other important parts of the syllabus are the course and college policies. So for example, if you have an ADA or 504 plan for accommodations, or you had an IEP in high school, you need to get that paperwork filed with our ADA 504 coordinator, whose name is Cami Sheridan, and she can be contacted at this email address here. Whether or not you get accommodations, I highly recommend all students to sign up for a tutor. It's free. It's actually not free. You're actually paying for it in your tuition and fees. So you're already paying for it. You might as well make use of it. And I had tutors for all of my science classes in college, and they saved me so much time and stress. So they really cut my study time down. So I would say it's almost as good as cheating, having a tutor, because they really just help you so much. They reduce the amount of time you need to spend. And it's always better to get one at the beginning of the course before you struggle than waiting until you're failing the course and then try to get one to pull your grade up. The academic integrity policy is all about honesty. So I try to tell students, always remember that you're here to learn, not to make grades. Sometimes students become really focused on their grades, especially if they're trying to get into certain programs, and that causes them to engage in dishonest practices on assignments. So when they do that, they really fail to actually learn the information they need in order to pass licensing exams or be successful in the professional world. And so really all they're doing is prolonging their failure, that they maybe get through the classes but then fail to get the job. They fail to get the license or they fail to get the job. So they're cheating themselves. So remember, you're here to learn. You're here to gain the knowledge and understanding. And it's even more tempting in an online platform, I think, to cheat because there is less oversight. And so it's really up to you to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable for being honest. And I want you to know that I trust you and I'm trusting you to make honest decisions. So check out the academic integrity policy. I also have very little tolerance for cheating. So if you cheat and are caught cheating in my class, you don't fail the assignment, you fail the course. All right, COVID policy. Since we're in the middle of a pandemic, there are restrictions in place for students coming to campus. Campuses are open a little bit for students to use like internet or printers in the library or tutoring services in the LACs, the Learning Assistance Centers. But there are some rules around that. Basically, you need to make an appointment if you're going to come to campus. You need to fill out a health screening tool that's available online, and you need to mask up if you're coming to campus. So just make sure that as the school communicates those policies with you, that you're aware of them. But you are allowed on campus, at least at the beginning. You just have to be very conservative in your use of campus. Then we've got the Title IX and the diversity inclusion statements. These are policies around sexual harassment and diversity and inclusion. The college does not condone sexual harassment in any form, verbal or physical, between employees or students, or employees and students. So if you experience sexual harassment in any form from anyone at the college, even if it's unrelated to my class, please know that you're safe to confide in me. I do have to report it to our Title IX coordinator, whose job it is to just check in with you and determine with you how you want to proceed, what you want to do about it. I also have a diversity and inclusion statement in the syllabus, and that's because I really aspire to create a learning environment that supports and celebrates diverse experiences and identities, and whether those be race, gender, sexuality, ability, religion. So I try to be respectful and inclusive, and I ask you guys to do that as well. Ask you folks to do that as well. Furthermore, if you feel discriminated against by me or classmates at any time, please let me know, because when we know better, we can do better. Finally, there is an instructor's academic right. My video is covering, move that. All right, which basically says I'm the boss of the course and I can change anything in the syllabus whenever I want because I'm the boss. I'm also kind of type A, and when I have a plan, I like to stick to the plan. So it's very unlikely that there will be any major changes in any of these schedules or policies. So you can pretty much count on sticking to the syllabus, despite the academic right of me to change it. And then the last thing I wanted to do is just give you a little quick Blackboard tour. So Blackboard is, of course, the platform where the online course is posted. And I just want to give you a little tour of the homepage, which you can now log in and see even before the class starts. So what you will see is, okay, so the first thing is there's a list of things to do that's right here, front and center. And so that's just kind of like your checklist. And then as you scroll down the page, you'll see each of those items and you can click on them individually in order to complete them. Other parts of the page are in the left-hand menu over here. So we've got the Meet the Instructor tab. If you click on that, it's just a little About Me section. What's Due When is a copy of the calendar that's also available in the course syllabus. It gives you an overview of all the due dates. You'll notice there's a clear pattern, like certain things are due on certain days, so there's regularity to the schedule. Under course content, you will find weekly lesson plans. They may be hidden from you initially in the first week until classes start. They will become available. So this is where you'll go for the rest of the course to access all of the weekly assignments, and quizzes and tests and stuff will be there as well. Blackboard Collaborate is like the Blackboard version of Zoom. So it allows us to do web conferencing, like sort of webinars. So for our live class sessions, that is where you will go. So they'll be listed likely in the weekly lesson plans. There will be a link to them, but there's a quick link right here. If you just know you're getting into your computer, you're logging in to get into our class session, you just click on Blackboard Collaborate and it'll take you to a list of sessions and you click on the right time. I have a YouTube channel for lecture videos and vocabulary videos. Again, they'll probably be listed in the course in the weekly lesson plans, but this is just a direct link to that channel if you ever need to access it quickly. There's some quick links here. To email me, just click Email Instructor and it'll bring you to a form to send me an email directly. Get a Tutor is a direct link to the Learning Assistance Center so you can sign up for a tutor for any class. And the My Grades is for you to check your grades in the course, which I recommend you do often. Just double check. It's good to have a second set of eyes on grades because I am human and I'm entering grades and I make errors all the time. They're not malicious. Feel free to let me know if you see something that doesn't look right, and I'm happy to fix it if we figure out that it's wrong. And then lastly, there's a tech help section. So there are some video tutorials for working in Blackboard. If there's something you don't know how to do, you can often find help there. There's also a link to Blackboard's help website that you can just type in and search for something like how to upload an assignment. And then there's the North Country Help Desk, which is useful if you're having technical difficulties with things loading or login issues. So that was a lot, and hopefully you got a lot of questions answered. Maybe your head is spinning with all this information, but I'm hoping that you found it helpful and feel like you know what you're getting into now with the class. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me or message me if you've already gotten the Remind app, and I will see you soon. Bye.